Hey, don't go stealing Fuzzy's gimmick. He's debuting in the next episode, by the way. We open this episode surprisingly not on the girls, but rather Mojo without his giant mantle and looking at himself in the mirror. A monkey who clearly skipped everything day. Actually, he was reflecting on his origins and what exactly sent him down the dark path besides the black light. Whatever it was, it had something to do with oranges. Let me guess, you were driven mad by an old YouTube meme that thankfully has long since rotted away. I see ya! Still, because of this, he ended up getting in the mood for the citrusy fruit. As a result, he ended up attacking a random green grocer, forcing the girls into action during their lunch break once again. They informed their teacher that they would be late for their next class period, even though, considering this show, it really shouldn't matter as they wouldn't get any sort of punishment for such. Alright, this was an Isao Murayama co-written script. The stickler of 1001 details. Anyway, they deployed and were going to deal with Mojo until the grocer went full Marvel on them and started launching complaints about the superheroines as they were doing their job. Dude, the insurance should cover that, and if you don't have it, then well, that's on you. Also, apparently the mirror uses a wireless phone that looks like an old rotary dial. Not gonna lie, I kind of want that. Anyway, they ended up apologizing to Mr. No Insurance, which they really didn't have to, especially after learning how he pretty much created Mojo in the first place. Yeah, as it turned out, his craving for oranges came from this guy teasing him while he was still a zoo animal with fruit that he never intended to give. What an asshole! The resulting anger and frustration ended up creating the basis for Mojo's current personality. This was an interesting new sympathetic take on Mojo, whom in the original was always just an out-of-control chimp who only got worse after being exposed to Chemical X. Don't believe the reboot's retcon. Having remembered all of this, Mojo decided to quickly escalate his plans to the next stage. Should have figured Steven Universe would steal ideas from this show too. And while I would agree about sending this jerk to a zoo where he belongs, the girls managed to talk Mojo down after the grocer gave him a ton of fruit. Good timing for them, as once again they were running low on calories having skipped lunch. Mojo offered them some of his fruit, but as they say, monkey see, monkey do, and Mojo denied them, which led to some predictable results. But whatever, Mojo was defeated, and this animal abuser was going out of business, so yeah, all's well that ends well. Going into the second story of the episode, as I mentioned, we saw the consequences of the girls skipping out on class to deal with Mojo. As it turned out, they had gotten an assignment from this dude that he didn't bother to inform them about, even though he knew full well that the girls were going to miss that class. Yeah, I'm starting to think that the real villains of this show are the citizens of this Townsville. Our heroines realized that without anything short of a magic spell, they wouldn't be able to finish their homework. Uh-oh, I think the evil space bunny is starting to take over. No, the magical science she was referring to was their resident boy genius, who they hoped could invent some kind of homework helper. In exchange, they offered to deliver a new invention to the professor. Said invention turned out to be some chemical Z-empowered magnetic sandals called the spider shoes that, as the name suggests, would allow the wearer to become a partial Spider-Man whose feet could stick to any metal, including vertical surfaces. I like to think this is a tribute to the healthy business relationship Toei has had with Marvel ever since the late 70s, which of course resulted in the creation of the infamous Spider-Man, and in turn Mexican Super Sentai that Marvel also co-produced. FYI, I learned a lot about that, as well as got this awesome image of Stan Lee and Shotaro Ishinomori from a documentary about Gene Pelk by the Toei Bounty Hunters. I'll include a link in the description. Two of the greatest creators of all time, and I will not hear otherwise. All that said, this shot looks more like a tribute to the Adam West Batman show. Anyway, they decided to just take the elevator since both guys didn't have either superhero's cardio. Then again, they were trying to scale a tower that was under construction. And we actually got a nice scene where the girls were able to see all the city from the top of it, and the mayor delivered a good speech about the citizens the girls were protecting. Again, this was co-written by an early Isao Murayama, so you can kind of feel the precureness of his writing, which he was doing for Splash Star at the same time as this. However, the tower also happened to be right next to Mojo's residence, which he didn't appreciate as it was blocking out his sunlight. I'd imagine that was a common complaint for anyone living near either one of Tokyo's overcompensating monstrosities. Thus, he decided to just take the tower for himself. He scaled it after stealing a pair of spider shoes and tried to shorten it with what's pretty much become his signature weapon in the show. The girls once again engaged him and were able to easily dodge his deadly crane, but the chaos he was causing also affected the surroundings. So they decided to sneak up on him with the spider shoes. A smart move since he couldn't easily attack the base of the crane. Problem was that the shoes could work too good at times depending on the surface. To make matters worse, Momoko had to save the professor's group before they fell. I don't know why they didn't try to evacuate them earlier, but whatever. It did lead to this awesome scene as Mojo tried to deliver a kick, and Momoko remembered that they were both wearing magnetic shoes. Yeah, I got nothing. That was really smart. With that, they saved the professor's group and defeated Mojo using powered up versions of their attacks, I think. They basically used Den-O logic. With that, the episode ended with Ken having invented the homework helpers the girls requested, which were some magic hands that forced them to buckle down and just hit the books. Though I'm not sure how this is any different than normal scholastics, but whatever. This was yet another fun, and even at times really smartly written episode. We got a nice little sympathetic backstory for this show's version of Mojo, as well as a fight that actually involves some pretty clever tactics from the girls. And if anything, I can also appreciate the possible nods to the underappreciated Spider-Man. God knows Disney's not going to do anything with him. As much as Mojo from the OG was easily my favorite villain of that show, I do appreciate this different take from this show. He's still an evil monkey, but this one also has some justifiable reasoning behind his actions, as he was influenced by a jerk-off who teased animals. Hence, much of the motivations for his actions are just as petty, though taken to insane extremes. This is also appropriate when you consider the girls could be just as petty. Yeah, they're still good-willed, but they're also not above pressuring a kid younger than them to help them with their homework, leading to them getting their just desserts too. It made for some fun interactions between them, including a fight that, while still hampered by some not-so-great animation, made up for it with some very clever moments that I actually kind of like a little more than just a well-animated fight. This was one of the first scripts Isao Murayama helped write for Toei alongside head writer Yoshio Urasawa, and it was a good first outing. He also wrote for the next episode, which will include a couple more OG villains for this show's Rogues Gallery, and there are definitely going to be some fun additions to say the least. Fun fact, it looks like Isao Murayama is coming back to Precure after taking almost the entirety of 2020 off. Yeah, I don't know how I timed these things either. Still, I hope the year off gave him a little time to recharge and get his creative juices flowing again. And considering how similar the tone of this show and Tropical Rouge are, maybe it'll be like going back to his roots for him, so I'll look forward to it. And I hope you look forward to my review of it, of course. Until then though, farewell for now my friends, and yeah, if you'll excuse me, I still got some work to do on this fourth wall after the last review. Okie dokie. Left foot, right foot, up we go. Yeah, there we go. Alright, left, right,